So nobody wants to buy Toronto condos anymore, and at least that's what we've been seeing in the newspapers. And let's dive into the article to see exactly why that is the narrative. I'm Michael Ouzas. I'm a realtor in the Greater Toronto Area. I'd love to hear your thoughts on if a condo could still work for you despite what some of these articles have been saying. And if you ever want to book in a call with me, click on that first link in the description down below. So here's the article from BlogTO, and they are definitely always at the forefront when it comes to clickbaity headlines. It says nobody wants to buy Toronto condos anymore as market completely tanks. And the snippets here: demand for Toronto homes has plummeted, but experts predict big changes. Particularly bad, the figures for new condo sales in and around the city, which were just released in a new housing report from the Building Industry and Land Development Association. We'll jump into that article very shortly. In a nutshell, what they are saying is that the number of new detached, semi-detached, and townhouses that sold in the region for the last month, which would be in this article, they were comparing to April 2023, was up a staggering 81% compared to April 2022, with a total of 2,391, which is about 16% below the 10-year average. Buyer interest in new condos, though, is falling way short. 57% fewer condos, stacked townhouse units, and lofts were sold in the Greater Toronto Area compared to April of 2022, sales dropping 39% below the 10-year average. It also goes on to say that pulled down by condo sales, there was an inventory of just under 15,000 new homes left for sale by the end of April of 2023. 91% of those are condos, which is higher than the month of March 2023. So here's the actual article from BILD, and it's pretty lengthy if you wanted to go check it out. But overall, it says just under 2,400 new home sales in April, down 35% from April 2022 and 30% below the 10-year average. This is where it goes on to say that condo apartments, including units in low, medium, and high-rise buildings, stacked townhouses, and loft units, accounted for 1,327 units sold in April, down 57% from April of 2022 and just about 40% below the 10-year average. May 2023 benchmark prices to take a look at what the prices have done since January 2023 of this year. In red, we have Greater Toronto Area, which of course is a pretty wide region, and in blue, we have the city of Toronto. If we look at January, we're around 720,000 for the city of Toronto, and in May, we're up to just under 760,000. Things have been treading relatively steady upwards since about February. Same story for Greater Toronto Area. On average, a condo would cost about $687,000, treaded relatively flat through February, and has been increasing steadily since. So I wanted to show the benchmark pricing, and even though sales are down from where things were in 2022, we have to keep in mind that April of 2022 was a record when it came to condos in the Toronto area. So now that we're into 2023, and it's interesting to see how things have changed from last year, but it's also interesting to see where things are compared month over month as we've been progressing through 2023. Things were pretty slow through November, December, and even January, and started to pick up in February, March, and April, and continuing through May. It'll be really interesting to see how things play out. We've had a relatively steady spring market, and if we do see more inventory come to market, I wonder what that will do for pricing, if we'll just kind of settle in where things have been over the last month or two. That being said, being on the ground level with my clients, I've seen that properties that look really good and that are priced really well are still moving pretty quickly. So it's not exactly as cut and dry as people don't want to buy condos. People are still buying condos. There's just a matter of there's different price points. If you're a buyer right now in today's market, it's really important to take your time, shop around, and see if you can find opportunities on properties that might not look the greatest in photos, or maybe they're not staged really well to try to attract everybody's attention. I have been seeing great properties that maybe aren't painted or could use a little bit of an update sit on the market, and I think that's where the opportunity lies in today's market. Stuff that looks really, really good and staged really well and photographed well seems to be getting a ton of attention, especially if it's priced well. So that's where the opportunity lies right now, is to be out there, be patient, and to find what exactly you're looking for. And if you can put in a little bit of sweat equity, there's always a built-in upside when it comes to that. Last thing I'll leave you with, is that buyers are still out there. So when an article comes out with a headline like this, it's not the end all be all on what exactly is happening in the Toronto real estate market, especially when it's coming from a news source like the one that I showed you earlier today. I'm Michael Ouzas. Thanks for watching.